I call Denise Roach.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker, tēnā kouta I te whare, e ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā rangatira mā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā kouta katoa. Sir, I rise to take a call for the Greens for the second reading of this, the Te Kawerau Maki Claims Settlement Bill. Sir, I'm not a usual member of the Māori Affairs Select Committee, so I feel incredibly privileged to have sat on the committee to hear the submissions for this bill, and in fact to speak on this bill as well. It is a committee like no other committee in Parliament, and I want to pay tribute to the chair of that committee and to the members who take great care to listen very carefully to the submissions that come through and to the advice from the Office of the Treaty Settlements and our officials, so that we can come back to the House with a bill that we can be proud of, that the iwi can actually be proud of. Sir, I went with the committee up to Auckland and listened to most of the submissions that we heard up there. I think there were a total of 9 submissions that we heard orally, and there were about 16 that were received as written submissions. And I want to use my speech to acknowledge some of the issues that were raised during the submission process. So I want to start off by acknowledging the issues that others have spoken about already that were highlighted by the Lusk families, the Hare family and the Bellamy family in relation to the return of the land to Te Kawerau Maki, known as Te Hinga Site B. It's fair to say that the Select Committee really did consider the issues around the family's requests for easements to access their service utilities and to access their land, and others have spoken about this here. And I support the conclusion that the Select Committee reached, which was summarised in the report that came back to the House. So, and I'm going to read from it, and it says, "We have empathy for the families concerned and recognise the family ties with the properties. However, we consider a 60-year right of renewal, a 60-year duration for the vehicle access and a 30-year duration with a right of renewal for the service accesses to be reasonable, in line with similar provisions in the Conservation Act, and to provide for future proofing." I'd like to add, sir, that this provision enables the families to engage with Te Kawerau Maki, and other speakers have talked about this as well. We would like to see them develop a relationship, and this provision allows that. And it would be similar to the relationship, I guess, that some of the submitters talked about having with previous landowners who they had these informal agreements with, and they were farmers, for example. But I would certainly hope that as a result of this settlement, they would develop a neighbourly relationship with Te Kawerau Maki as the new landowners, and I would say that that would be a very sensible approach. We also note that there will be amendments put through which, as the Minister said, sort of formalises the informal arrangement. Like others, sir, I also want to touch on the aspects of the bill that talk about right of first refusal. In my first reading on this bill, sir, I outlined my concerns about competing claims between iwi, and the Greens have an ongoing concern that settlement bills may set up iwi against iwi, hapu against hapu. And I've commented before on the Crown's role in potentially creating new treaty breaches as a consequence of the settlement processes, sir. But I think it's also important to note that we did receive submissions from other iwi. Some, like Waikato Tainui and like Ngāti Manuhiri, these submissions were submissions of congratulations to Te Kawerau Maki. But others, like, for example, the submission from Tracy Winamurewati on behalf of her whānau, outlined their concerns about their exclusions from the Kopiro Nui block in Woodhill Forest from the Ngāti Whātua or Kaipara settlement. Sir, our colleague Nanaia Mahuta has already explained the restrictions that the Select Committee has, and the fact that this was an issue that we felt needed to be dealt with and should have been dealt with by the Māori Land Court, and we did receive good advice from our officials on it, so we do have to accept that it was outside the scope of the Māori Affairs Committee. But I did want to highlight, Sir, that there is the potential for more grievances to be established as a result of these processes. Sir, the Māori Affairs Select Committee has tried to also, in the report back, clarify other aspects of the bill. I note that it returns to the House with some small amendments in attempt to clarify the issue around right of first refusal over land and properties in those shared areas with Ngāti Whātua o Kaipara in relation to the Auckland prison property, and the periods for when that right of first refusal will apply. And a similar clarification has also been sought for the shared rights of first refusal with Te Kawerau a Maki, with Ngāti Whātua o Kaipara and the Māori Tuahu iwi with regards to the area of land on the Mahurangi coast. At this point, Sir, I also want to mention the submission from the Auckland Council about Te Onekiritia Point and the return of the what's only actually 2,800 square metres of land at the place that was previously known as Bomb Point in the deed of settlement, and that is for building a marae for Te Kawerau a Maki. The balance of the land on this peninsula is Crown land, and Te Kawerau a Maki have the right of first refusal to buy that land although Auckland Council has the option to buy it first. So if Auckland Council doesn't want it, they have to put it up for sale with the right of first refusal going back to Te Kawerau a Maki. And I guess what makes me nervous about the right of first refusal in this instance, Sir, is that the land is right next to the housing development by Hobson Land Development Limited. And the council and their submissions there said that they have had some discussions with the company and the iwi over the future development of Te Onekiritia Point. And we've already seen, Sir, issues where the right of first refusal over housing issues is being challenged in the High Court. So I just wanted to get on record my nervousness about this, but others have stated previously their nervousness, Sir, about right of first refusals as well. It was good to hear the Minister in his statement, Sir, state that his government does have a commitment to ensure that these settlements go through, including the rights of first refusal provisions, and that they are upheld. So take some comfort from that. And I appreciated his explanation that not all rights of first refusal provisions are the same. So we look forward to seeing this bill progress through the House in its final stages. We look forward to the fact that this does actually settle the claims for Te Kawerau a Maki. We do have to state for the record, Sir, that we never see these settlements as full and final. However, having said that, we will, of course, be supporting it. Nō reira, tēnei te mihi nui ki ngā iwi o te Kawerau a Maki. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Ko Pita Parioni.
Tēnā no koe, Mr. Speaker. Tēnā no